Welcome to this Elite Explainer Masterclass. I am your master coach, and today we are decoding the exact uncompromising strategies you need to completely dominate the statement of profit or loss for your Cambridge AS and A-level accounting exams. Look, if you're targeting that top-tier mark in paper 9706, you already know that mastering limited company financial statements isn't just about balancing the books. It's not just basic arithmetic. It is about demonstrating a rigorous conceptual understanding of the underlying financial architecture. Today, we are pulling back the curtain. We're looking directly through the examiner's lens, using real principal examiner reports to show you exactly where candidates bleed marks, and more importantly, how you can secure them. Let's get right into it. I want you to look incredibly closely at this quote we've pulled from our sources. The stakes for this specific topic, frankly, could not be higher. It's the ultimate differentiator. Examiners purposely use the statement of profit or loss to separate the candidates who have merely memorized accounting formats from the elite scholars who actually understand the mechanics of corporate finance. Your performance on the specific document heavily dictates your overall grade trajectory. It's where the A-star is won or lost. Here is our strategic blueprint for today's session. 1. Core theoretical principles. 2. The procedural framework. 3. Critical evaluation. And 4. Top examiner traps. Let's dive straight into Section 1, Core Theoretical Principles. Principal examiner reports explicitly state that you must move past superficial knowledge. Let me paint a picture for you. In my digital study suite, I often run simulations with two distinct types of scholars. Let's call them Alex and Sam. Alex is highly technical, absolutely excels at memorizing formulas and facts, but struggles when a question opens up into evaluation. Sam, on the other hand, is a creative thinker, great at building arguments, but often loses marks due to a lack of structural precision. When I give them both a high-tariff 15-mark question on this topic, I see a fascinating debate unfold. Alex immediately wants to just list the standard layout of the statement, focusing entirely on what we call superficial breadth, but Sam tries to write a massive essay on business strategy without any hard data. The truth? Neither of them gets the A-star with those approaches. Top-performing candidates achieve significantly higher marks by showcasing analytical depth and cross-topic connections. You cannot just calculate a complex depreciation figure. You have to understand exactly how that specific adjustment in the profit or loss statement cascades down to impact the overall asset valuation in the statement of financial position. It's a living, breathing ecosystem of numbers, and the examiner wants to see that you see the whole matrix. So this brings us to a massive hurdle. You walk into the exam room, you turn the page, and the scenario looks literally nothing like the practice questions you drilled at home. Why does applying concepts to unfamiliar contexts feel so impossibly hard? Let's go back to Alex and Sam. We were looking at a prompt recently and they completely froze. The scenario wasn't a standard retail business. It was a highly specialized manufacturing firm dealing with an unprecedented inventory write-down. Here is where we need to deeply dissect the anatomy of Cambridge command words. Alex looked at the word analyze and started just explaining what inventory is. Sam looked at the word evaluate and just gave a personal opinion. This is fatal. You have to contrast these commands deeply. Explain means providing the how and why of a factual accounting treatment, but to what extent demands that you weigh up competing factors. Analyze requires breaking the financial data down into logical parts to show causality. Evaluate demands that you synthesize that analysis to make a justified professional judgment. When the context is unfamiliar, candidates panic and default to just describing the numbers. But the A-star requires you to execute the specific command word within the new constraints of the prompt. The answer to conquering that unfamiliarity lies right here: true conceptual understanding. What does that actually mean? It means relying on precise definitions, mapping out causal relationships, and using systematic analysis to transfer your knowledge into entirely unfamiliar territory. In our study session, Alex and Sam realized they needed to merge their strengths. Alex's precise, factual formulas needed to anchor Sam's broad conceptual arguments. You can't rely on rote memory. If you understand the fundamental principle of why an expense must be matched to revenue in a specific period, it literally doesn't matter if the examiner throws a tech startup, a farming cooperative, or a massive multinational conglomerate at you. You understand why the entry is made, not just where it physically goes on the paper. Now that we've locked down the theory, let's move to Section 2, the procedural framework. Okay, we are about to solve one of the hardest roadblocks students face when building these statements. But before we unpack exactly how to get unstuck when your numbers absolutely refuse to balance, I need you to pause. If you are serious about crushing your Cambridge exams and unlocking these high-level strategies, you need to subscribe to the channel Ace the Exam's IGCSE O and A levels at the handle at @acetheexam_IGCSE right now. Click that subscribe button, enable all notifications, hit the bell icon, do it so you never miss a weekly Cambridge breakthrough strategy. Okay, let's get back to the framework. I was watching Alex and Sam drafting a model response paragraph by paragraph on the screen, and they hit a massive roadblock. They had spent 12 minutes agonizing over a tiny $500 discrepancy in their final profit calculation, completely panicking because the bottom line didn't match their expectations. I had to step in and pause their session. I told them, stop. You are bleeding time. This is where you deploy the method mark strategy. Examiners award marks for your process. The practical application and using the correct professional terminology are just as critical as the final calculation. If your final profit figure is slightly off because of one tiny arithmetic error under pressure, but your structural process is perfectly sound and your workings are fully transparent, you will still capture the vast majority of the available marks. Don't sacrifice a 15-mark evaluation essay because you spent 10 minutes chasing a 1-mark arithmetic error. To absolutely guarantee those method marks, lock this 5-step standardized processing sequence into your mind right now. Step 1. Identify key elements from the massive wall of text they give you. Step 2. Apply the relevant accounting principles, like accruals or prudence. Step 3. Execute your analysis with crystal clear working. I literally made Alex and Sam rewrite their flawed, messy calculations out loud. We transitioned their messy scratchpad into a perfectly annotated working section, referencing every single adjustment. Step 4, verify the results for reasonableness. And Step 5, present it in the strictly appropriate format. This sequence is your safety net. It ensures you never leave easy structural marks on the table, even when the scenario is brutal. Moving straight into Section 3, critical evaluation. This is where we unlock the highest marking bands. Welcome to the interactive portion of our workshop. Let's look at the hierarchy of assessment objectives, or AOs. Higher order assessment demands that you push past mere description. Level 1 is AO1, descriptive knowledge. You're just stating facts. Level 2 is AO2, analytical problem solving, breaking the data into logical steps. But Level 3, AO3, this is the evaluative tier. This is the A-star territory. Imagine I've just projected a highly complex statement of profit or loss on our interactive board, detailing a company whose revenue is up 20%, their gross profit margin has completely collapsed. I start a 60-second visual countdown timer. What do you do? If you give me a level 1 answer, you just tell me revenue went up. If you give me a level 2 answer, you calculate the exact percentage drop in the margin. But if you want the level 3 marks, you have to evaluate. You have to compare alternative reasons. Did the cost of raw materials spike globally? Did they aggressively cut selling prices to gain market share? And then you must justify a recommendation on how the director should respond. Let's run a spot the flaw exercise right now. Imagine reading a student's answer that says, the company's profit increased by $50,000, so their financial performance is excellent and they should immediately pay a large dividend. What are the errors there? To hit that evaluative tier, you must aggressively question the evidence quality. You systematically identify the limitations. Maybe that profit includes a massive one-off sale of an asset, which isn't sustainable operating income. You have to spot the assumptions made. The student assumed profit equals cash availability, which is a massive rookie error. You need to present alternative interpretations of the financial results, and then assess how those different interpretations completely change your final conclusion. Critical analysis means never taking a single number at face value. You interrogate the data. Let's move to our final section. Top examiner traps. We're going straight to the source to see where candidates fail. These are the top 3 fatal errors spotted by examiners year after year. Number 1, using the wrong theoretical approach for the context. This is exactly what Alex used to do, trying to force a standard template onto a unique scenario. Number 2, forgetting to check format and presentation. Sam was famous for this in our sessions, writing brilliant analytical points but presenting the income statement like a messy grocery list. Professional formats are non-negotiable. And number 3, writing answers that are completely detached from the specific constraints of the context. Read this examiner alert carefully. If you take away only one single thing from this masterclass today, let it be this: generic, memorized answers will absolutely sink your grade. The classic mistake is brain dumping everything you know about a generic statement of profit or loss without ever actually answering the prompt on the page. The examiners despise this. They call it out in every single report. You must ruthlessly link every single analytical point back to the scenario. If the text says the business is facing a severe supply chain crisis, your analysis of their cost of sales must explicitly mention that crisis. If you write a beautiful paragraph evaluating their gross profit, but fail to mention the exact constraints outlined in the first paragraph of the exam paper, you cap your marks, period. All right, let's synthesize this entire masterclass into 3 core memorable pillars of success that Alex, Sam, and you need to deploy. I call these the strategic triad. First, the 3-step question scan, which integrates perfectly into deploying the 5-step systematic process to secure your method marks. Second, the paragraph balance formula, meaning you purposefully cross-link topics to ensure analytical depth. You balance every factual calculation with a conceptual consequence. And third, the last 5 minutes review checklist. In those final 5 minutes, you scan your paper to ensure you have always justified your recommendations strictly within the provided context. When Alex and Sam finally started applying these 3 pillars in our digital suite, their marks exploded from mid-tier Bs to consistent, undeniable A stars. Remember, executing these strategies requires immense repetition. A highly effective memory hack is to create your own acronyms for the key factors affecting these statements. It significantly speeds up your cognitive recall when the clock is ticking down in the exam room. Start practicing this deconstruct, solve, and evaluate method today by tearing apart past paper questions under timed conditions. I am going to leave you with this final, uncompromising challenge as you head back to your studies. The exact tools and cognitive strategies to dominate the statement of profit or loss are now in your hands. When you turn the page and face your next high-tariff 15-mark question, will you settle for a comfortable, generic, descriptive answer, or will you step up and execute the analytical depth demanded of an A-star candidate? The choice and the grade is entirely yours. But remember, crushing Cambridge exams requires a consistent, relentless strategy. If you want to keep gaining this elite edge, you must hit the subscribe button for Ace the Exam's IGCSE O and A levels at @acetheexam_IGCSE right now. Turn on that notification bell for our future exam hacks, and I want you to drop a comment below right now with your exact target grade. Put it out there, commit to it. I'll see you in the next masterclass. Keep grinding.